I did call out earlier today, early in the afternoon, when I saw the tornado hitting this area. I called out 80 of our National Guard members to come and help secure the perimeters and to also help our Highway Patrol with our traffic congestion on our highways and to secure the areas that have been affected. So we are working with our Red Cross, our Salvation Army, and many of our charities to get food and water and emergency shelters out to those that have lost their home, and certainly to help feed and hydrate those that are working at the scene with our emergency responders. So I will stop right now and I'll turn it over to our Emergency Management Director, Albert Ashwood. He set up the Operations Command Center yesterday when we were having the various tornadoes that swept through Oklahoma. They have not taken down the center. It's been up all night and certainly up all day today, and it's been a very busy time. Albert, thank you so much for your tremendous amount of work that you and your staff and the coordination. There's about 50 people that are in the command center right now working with all the various state agencies, with federal entities, local communities, and certainly with our state charities. So thank you, Albert, for your work.
I appreciate that. I'd like to echo what Governor Fallon said. Of course, when it comes to state response, our job is extremely simple. Provide the city of Moore, Oklahoma City, the affected jurisdictions, everything the state has to offer. And that's what we're doing. We've done it through the National Guard, the Department of Public Safety. We also have looked to our federal partners with Federal Emergency Management Agency. They've been great partners over the years with a number of disasters that we've had. And we have 3 urban search and rescue teams that are moving this way at the disposal of local search and rescue if they're needed. Those would be similar to the teams that we used during the Oklahoma City bombing back in 1995. As far as recovery, as the governor said, we do anticipate receiving a federal declaration very shortly that will help individuals with their unmet needs, of course, and to help them with their immediate needs to try to find a roof over their head and a place to take their family for the short term. At this time, I want to turn it over to the real people that are at where the rubber meets the road here. That would be, the City of Moore. Steve Eddy, the city manager with Moore, please come forward.
Albert, if I could just add two more quick things. I want to just mention that I have been in touch with our President Pro Tem of our Oklahoma Senate. The Senate tomorrow will be running some legislation in the final days of the legislature to allow the state, if it needs to be able to access our state rainy day fund, our emergency fund, to help our various communities and certainly our schools that have suffered so much. But if we do need some money, we'll have some legislation that will allow us to do that. Of course, we will be receiving some federal disaster relief. We anticipate, it's quite obviously that we need it. And I also want to mention that I have been in many conversations with State Superintendent Janet Barisi, and she has given me an update on the school systems themselves and keeping track of what's going on with the various schools. I think there have been 5 that have had some sort of damage during this terrible storm. Please.
Steve Eddy, City Manager of Moore. Thank you, Governor, for coming down. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who have come. First off, certainly our hearts and prayers go out to our residents and our folks here in Moore. As you know, we've been through this before, unfortunately. And I can tell you, though, that our citizens are resilient. I can promise our citizens, and I know our mayor will back me on this, that this community will recover. We will recover and clean up as soon as we possibly can. We are looking forward to that job. Although we would rather not have it, it's here and we accept it. And we will do the very best we can to get our community back to functioning normal as soon as possible. Let me introduce Fire Chief Gary Bird.
My name is Gary Bird. I'm the Fire Chief for the City of Moore. And first of all, I want to thank all the mutual aid fire departments, the ambulance services, all the emergency services that came in to help us in this city. And we are greatly appreciative of all your help. And at this time, we do not need any more mutual aid response. And we will contact you if we do. And we do appreciate everything we've received so far, but we have plenty of help on scene at this time. And I want to thank the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, everyone that's been involved so far, and I especially want to thank the citizens for being so understanding with us. We are getting everywhere we can as fast as we can, and we will do everything we can to help the citizens of this community. Thank you.
I'm
Jerry Stillings, Chief of Police here in Moore. I'd just like to reiterate that our thoughts and prayers are with those individuals who've been affected by this storm in Moore, Oklahoma City, and everywhere. As far as the police department is concerned, we have a perimeter set up around the affected areas. We would ask that if people are in those areas, that they vacate that area as quickly as possible before nightfall, if possible. There are a lot of safety issues, gas lines, power lines, things of that nature that we have to take into consideration, and there's just not much else that can be done in there at this time. The search and rescue efforts will continue throughout the night, or as long as they need be. So there is another reunification site at Southwest 19th and Eagle at Abundant Life Church. That's for parents of children at Plaza Towers Elementary. If you need to make contact there, you can do that, as well as the St. Andrew's Church at Southwest 119th and May. Other students at other schools who have been held over, if you have not been reunified, you can. The parents need to go to the Moore High School and contact officials there, and that's where they're taking all the students from other schools. So, again, we want to thank everybody for their help and the other agencies involved, and we couldn't do this alone, and we do appreciate all the help. Thank you.
David Greenwell, Ward 5, Oklahoma City Council. Again, my prayers and thoughts, and all of the representatives from up here, especially from the city of Oklahoma City and the city of Moore, go out to the families and especially the children who've been impacted by this. And I want to thank the various members of both cities, Moore and Oklahoma City, on their quick response. I was down here around 4 o'clock, and as soon as I got here, we just encountered so many just regular citizens jumping in there and trying to clear debris, and then all the private contractors and emergency services, medical personnel who've just jumped in and been great from the get-go here. It just speaks well about the citizens here in Oklahoma City and the city of Moore. And again, the entire resources of the city are certainly at the disposal of this effort. And now I'm going to bring in City Manager Jim Couch.
I'm Jim Couch. I'm the city manager for Oklahoma City. I want to echo Councilman Greenwell's comments from this on behalf of the city of Oklahoma City. Thoughts and prayers go out to those that have been injured, those that have lost property, and those that have lost loved ones in this tragic event. I do want to highlight a little bit about water. Lake Stanley Draper Water Treatment Plant was spared from the tornado, but we did lose power to the facility. We're working with OG&E to reestablish that power. It could be several hours before that happens. In the meantime, we have generators that will be coming in to power up the water treatment plant. We anticipate having those in later this evening and have power back on and online about midnight. However, on the interim, I do want to highlight a couple of things. First of all, the water is safe, so it's okay to drink the water as we go forth, but also use it sparingly over the next day or so as we're recovering from the outage. And so we should have the power back up, but there will be areas of low pressure, and please use your water wisely over the next day or so. I want to introduce Oklahoma City Police Chief Bill City.
Thank you. Obviously, Moore, the area of Moore has been hit a lot harder than Oklahoma City. I think we're dealing with an area that's just about 3 square miles that we're having to secure, and about 90% of all those homes receive some type of damage, if not total loss. So I know that what we're dealing with is a lot less, even though it's a great deal. There's a great deal of tragedy there, a lot less than what Moore's dealing with. I have to echo what everybody has said and appreciate the state, all the efforts of the state, all the agencies, Red Cross, all those volunteers that have come together to do what they normally do in situations like this. And we've gone through it before, sadly, in 1999, and we do appreciate it, and we'll work through this day by day. I'll also, one of the most important things I think the governor said was be patient. We're not going to allow citizens back into those areas. There's a lot that has to be done in search and rescue. Officers and the fire departments are working very closely together to make sure that we get all those areas searched. We'll receive text messages. We'll receive phone calls from people that are trapped in their homes, in shelters, inside their house. And so we're still trying to search some of those areas out, as well as people that can't make contact and may still be out there. So that's going to take time. We want to make sure we don't miss anything. So people are going to have patience in getting back into those areas, into their homes, at least for the next couple of days, while we make sure we do everything we can do to make sure everybody's that is in there will be found. So again, I want to thank everybody in Oklahoma City and the state, and I'll turn it over to Chief Woodard with Oklahoma City Fire Department.
Deputy Chief Mark Woodard with Oklahoma City Fire Department. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to all the families involved in this tragic event through Oklahoma City and more. Just to give you a briefing on what we've done, we have completed a preliminary search of the areas in Oklahoma City. It roughly started from I-44 and 149th and went easterly to 149th and Western, then took a northeastern route through the Oklahoma City area and through the Bears Westmore community. Hit also the Briarwood Elementary School. We have done preliminary searches. We'll be working throughout the night doing secondary and possibly third searches there. We do have our FEMAS, our IT teams working with our command staff and our unified command with OCPD. If they have their storm cellar registered with the City of Oklahoma City, we know the locations. We're double checking those to make sure that we search all those out and make sure that we have everybody safe and accounted for. Again, appreciate all the different agencies assisting us, and again, we'll be out there throughout the night. Thank you very much. Next up is General Manager for IMSA is Jim Wenham.
Hello, Jim Wenham. I'm the General Manager for Emergency Medical Services Authority. Since operations began, we've transported roughly 100 patients. We don't have a total number right now because of the services involved. We're tabulating those and we'll continue to do so throughout the night. We have a dual mission right now, of course, take care of the citizens, both of Oklahoma City and more. And then we're also trying to help responders. It's a very dangerous situation out there. Debris, down power lines, etc. So we're here to take care of the responders and the patients as necessary. It's been a great, tremendous effort from everybody involved. Again, I'd like to say what everybody else has mentioned. Both the fire departments, police departments, all the mutual aid, EMS agencies that have came in have worked very, very good together, and it's been a total team effort. And our hearts and prayers to everybody that was involved in this tragedy. Thank you.
My name is Jamie Shelton, City of Moore Public Information. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon for another press conference. Yeah, we're going to open it up for some questions. So if you can direct them to who you'd like to ask, and then we'll have them come up and repeat the questions and get you taken care of. So.
Are they still looking for survivors right now? They pulled survivors from the debris right now?
Yeah.
Repeat your question.
Are they pulling the survivors from the debris right now?
We are still doing searches through the schools, through the houses, and doing primaries and secondary searches at this time. I haven't been back to the command post lately. I do not know for sure if they've been through every structure in the city yet. We should be getting close to that point by this time.
Were there any deaths at the elementary school?
There have been some confirmed casualties. I do not have a number at this time.
At the elementary school?
Yes.
Elementary school is too. There was the Briarwood and
Plaza Tower.
Can you repeat that back because they can't hear me?
They asked what school it was at. Was it Plaza Towers Elementary? There's confirmed at Plaza Towers, yes.
Okay.
Other Oklahomans who want to come in and help? Right now isn't the time? Should they wait? What?
We'd like to ask everyone to stay at home. If they want to make donations, they can do that through the redcross.org, or just kind of wait to hear as a couple days go by. We'll have more information on what items are needed. Right now, we need the roads open for our first responders and medical and police personnel to be able to get into the areas. everyone wants to come out and help, and we know that. We're Oklahomans, and that's the Oklahoma spirit. But thoughts and prayers are the best thing that we can get right now. And as needs come up, we will make sure you know what we can address those and tell you what those are. So.
Well, you just mentioned there were confirmed deaths at Plaza Tower. There were confirmed deaths at any other locations in particular you can tell us about?
Confirmed deaths. So I think the question for confirmed deaths.
The question is there any confirmed deaths in any other locations? I personally have been up in Oklahoma City's helicopter doing an aerial view and a recon. I've been to the Briarwood Elementary School. I cannot confirm at this time. There's too much devastation, too much damage. We do have 5 USAR K9 dogs that are working there with our USAR Task Force 1 that we did activate early on. The State Emergency Management has made other USAR teams available to us. But at this time, we cannot confirm that we have any fatalities in the Oklahoma City area. We are still searching and doing a preliminary and a secondary search. While we were flying over doing our aerial view, we did see people digging some people out in the Westmore, or the Briarwood, I'm sorry, correct me, Bears Westmore Edition there at 149th and South Santa Fe.
Some outlets are reporting a number of 37 fatalities. Can you confirm that at this point?
I cannot confirm that. No, I can't, Katie.
I'd just like to say, as far as in Moore, there have been a couple of other confirmed fatalities on the east side of town, which would be east of Eastern in that area. We just can't say exactly how many because the process is still ongoing, and it just wouldn't be responsible at this time for us to try and guess. So we can just tell you that there are some, and we will get that information out as soon as we can confirm it in a responsible manner. I'd just like to say also for the people that are moving out of the neighborhoods now, they're being displaced, there's also the First Baptist Church in Moore is offering a place for shelter at Northeast 27th and I-35 also, if people need a place to stay. And also, yes, the community center here in Moore at Southwest 4th and I-35.
Does the destruction look worse than 1999 right now, just from looking at it?
It looks very similar.
Repeat the question.
The question you asked is, does the destruction look worse than it did in 1999? It's really hard to tell when it gets as bad. I can tell you that the type of property that it hit really makes it worse for me. So.
Director Ashwood, you also responded to the 1999 tornado. Governor, you were Lieutenant Governor at the time. How does this compare to May 3rd, 1999?
The question is, how does the damage today compare to 1999 May 3rd tornadoes? And of course, they were equally devastating. I think the fact that what we see so far today is going to be very similar, if not exceed what we saw in 1999. But keep in mind, anytime there's a loss of life, it's a devastating disaster. It's not the huge amounts, it's just that we did lose life, and this is very similar, of course, to what we had then, and as well as what we had in 2003, which was less damage area, but same area.
We also got word from President Bourne at OU that if there are families that are displaced, that he is opening up the dorms at OU, and for people that need a place to stay, they can call 325-2511 to stay at one of the facilities on the OU campus.
Governor, can you talk a little bit more about your phone call with the President, what you said, and if you gave any specifics as far as federal aid?
Well, the President did call along with Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano, and both of them certainly offered their prayers and condolences to the state, offered to lend any assistance that we might need and to help us be able to process the paperwork quickly, and if there are any snags that we might run across, to please give them a call. The President actually left us a phone number to call tonight if we need help, certainly throughout the next several days. And both of them offered to send rescue teams and medical assistance if we need those things. And of course, we're in the stage right now of not only doing the search and rescue, but also determining what do we really need here at these various locations throughout the state of Oklahoma. But we actually have received 3 rescue teams and search dogs from out of state, some national medical teams that are coming in to help us also. But we have those offers available to us if we need them.
16 plus 4 counties, so we're talking about 20-some counties.
But today we declared another 5 counties for the federal emergency disaster, so now we have a total of 21, Albert?
Well, actually,
At 16 before and then 5 at this particular...
4 of the 5 we already had declared.
4 of the 5 we've already declared, so we added 1 more today, so we have 17.
How does that compare with history? Is that, I mean...
Can I address that?
I mean, you don't have to be spot on, but...
No, as far as the question is how many counties have we ever had declared before in a disaster? Well, if you go back to our ice storms, there was a time when we had, I believe, 56 of the 77 counties declared.
With tornadoes, though?
With tornadoes, you'd probably go back to May 3rd, and you'd probably be around the 16 to 18 without looking at the figures.
Is there a good way for people to connect with their loved ones? I know cell phone service is down, but...
You have been listening to a news conference with Governor Mary Fallin and many leaders around Oklahoma City and the city of Moore about the response and what it is going to take to recover from all of this. I do want to go out to my co-anchor, Jessica Shambach. Jessica, I know you've been trying to get out to the scene of a place that I just haven't wanted to see today, Plaza Towers. This is some of the first video where the elementary school was, and we are being told, and you are there now, that this place has just been wiped away. Jessica just arriving on the scene right there.
Hey, Paul, I'm not sure if you just tossed to me. I can't hear you right now. I was just trying to walk over and talk to some of these emergency crews about the situation here at Plaza Towers Elementary School. And you can see, I mean, just all of the destruction over my shoulder. You can see barely what's left of this elementary school. And sadly, there have been search and rescue efforts underway here. Not too long ago, we saw firefighters working so hard in one area over there with search dogs, and now I'm hearing from some of the men coming out of here that this may actually be recovery efforts at this point. I'm hearing that perhaps 40 students may be unaccounted for and 2 janitors as well. Just talking to some of the guys who've been going through the neighborhoods and came over here to this school, from what they've seen, you know, it's very graphic. They're seeing very graphic things in there among the rubble of this elementary school. They did tell me that they had seen bodies of children, and that is something that nobody wants to hear. So it's a very dire situation here. I've seen so many people walking through this neighborhood with their heads hung down so low as they take a look around. I mean, just debris is everywhere, Paul. Driving up here, it took us 2.5 hours to get to this neighborhood that would normally take us maybe 30 minutes or so because of all the traffic. People were actually having to park their cars and walk in to try to get to their loved ones, to try to see their neighborhoods where their homes are, to see what they can find out, because traffic was such an issue. I actually have some people over here who walked in a couple of miles. You guys live in this neighborhood right now. How was your house?
It's all right, but it's got tree damage, a lot of tree damage.
And how far did you guys walk in to get to your neighborhood?
Probably about 2 miles, maybe.
At least, from 134th and Western.
Whenever you came up to this, did your heart just sink? What was the feeling that went through your mind?
Our heart sank. My heart sank. Definitely. Seeing all this, it's just horrible.
It's unreal. Like, this is my home street. I grew up right here, went to this school. It's completely gone.
Did you guys know any of the students who may have been at this elementary school?
Not currently. From what I was told from my mom, that my cousin was going to this school, but we haven't heard any word from him about his whereabouts or anything.
Now, where were you guys whenever the tornado came through? You obviously were not at your house.
No, we were at her mom's in Mustang, and we just watched the tornado form on TV.
And what about neighbors or family members who live here in this neighborhood? Have you guys had a chance to find out how people around you that you know in this neighborhood, how they're doing?
For the most part, we've got, you know, update on our family and stuff, so.
Everything's mostly good with our family. I was worried about my dogs, too, after my mom had left. My boxer here got out, and she actually went down to my best friend's and somehow got in his room, and she was all right.
So your house is okay. Do you think you're going to be able to stay here tonight? I know that crews are trying to get a lot of people out of this neighborhood when night falls.
Yeah, we're probably not going to stay here tonight.
Yeah, more than likely not.
Well, you guys take care. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. You know, it's just a tough situation out here, Paul. It's